Let's talk about having too many thoughts while we meditate. And the reason why I want to talk about that today is that it's a question that has come up in one of my social media channels. And it's a question that comes up pretty often when I lead groups, corporate groups, whatever kind of groups they are, leading meditation. And there's this frustration that happens for people seeing that we have an idea that meditation should be free of thought. We're going to let go of all thought. And if we don't manage to let go of thought, we have failed in our meditation and it's of no use. So let me dispel some of that today. And this is actually really important because you're doing absolutely nothing wrong if a lot of thoughts come up while you meditate. Number one, I want you to know that it is your brain's job to come up with thoughts. It is the way that it is using its real estate and it is defending its real estate. It is just something that this machine, or whatever we should call it within here, the brain, it's the job that it does. It comes up with thoughts. And it doesn't stop just because we're sleeping. I mean, we dream. It's just an onslaught of thought. And it has been measured that around 90 to 95% of our thoughts are automated, recycled, in other words, pretty useless thoughts. And so this is just something that happens. So when we know that it's our brain's job to just produce thoughts, they don't have to be true, they don't have to be relevant, they don't have to be interesting, they just keep on getting spat out in our own brains. When we know that, we don't have to take our thoughts so seriously. So when we meditate and these thoughts come up and they are wanting to make us stressful, or they're wanting to, whatever it is, they might not even have a big intention because they're just recycled thoughts that come up, we can just let them go. If we know they're not that important, we can afford to just let them go. This is very good news. And the other really good news is that you are not failing at meditation just because thoughts come up. I could actually argue that it's the opposite. Because one of the things that we train in meditation is our own focus. And so we're noticing that we're focusing on things that we don't want to focus on, and we take our focus back. This is how we become the king and queens of our minds, right? We are in charge of what we're focusing on. So if there are a lot of thoughts that come up during meditation for you, and you bring your focus back to, let's say you're doing a breathing meditation or a body scan, whatever it is, you take your focus back to the focal point that you have chosen as your meditation. And that is like doing a bicep curl for your own mind. So when thoughts come up and you bring your attention back to, let's say, your breathing, you've done a bicep curl. Oh, and then more thoughts come up. And you bring your thoughts back, and it's another bicep curl. So don't think for a second that you don't do valuable work while you meditate just because thoughts come up, and then you catch yourself thinking about something that you didn't want to think about right now because you wanted to focus your focus awareness on your breathing. Then that's a win for you. It's okay. So don't beat yourself up. It's a great part of meditation. Now, there is another part of meditation where we benefit from having less thought, and what we really benefit from is to have our brain waves slow down. And if you are in a position to have less and less thoughts disturb your emotional frequency and your brain frequency, that is a benefit too. So let's talk about some of the ways that you can actually have thoughts dissipate and sort of just evaporate in your own mind, seeing that that's a great part of meditation too. When I meditate, and I'm actually going to go back to when I started meditating, which was in 1996. It's a long time ago. And I started with something called Transcendental Meditation. And I still do it. I've been doing it daily ever since. And I had a really hard time focusing on the mantra that I was given. Transcendental meditation is mantra-based. One of the things that I did with all the thoughts that came up that worked for me, and it might sound a little silly, is that I had windshield wipers wiping the thoughts away. I'm a visual person, and it worked for me. I just had the wiper just kind of go boop, boop. Another thing that we can do is that we can imagine the thoughts as it arises just being a cloud in the sky. And as such, we can just observe that, oh, there's a cloud in the sky and it's just passing by, and we let it pass by, right? That's another way of letting the thought be there and disappear without you paying too much attention to it. A thought is not much if you don't focus on it. It's going to disappear if you don't focus on it. So if you just have something that is of disappearing nature that is visual, you're going to feel a lot more connected to this thoughtless, still, slow brainwave space within yourself. Another one that I did actually is that I imagined myself in a house. And so my mind was sort of a room. And when thoughts came up, I had the window open in my mind's room. And I just let the thought sort of blow out of the window. So you get the idea between the windshield wipers, the cloud, the window, that find something for you that is of disappearing nature for your thoughts as they come up in meditation. So let's recap so that you don't get threatened or feel like a failure when you're thinking during meditation. Number one, it's not a big deal if thoughts come up. In fact, you're building important muscle when you learn to get back your focus. So let's just recognize it's the brain's job to produce thoughts, and if you pay attention to it and you need to bring your focus back, that's a great part of focus training. And then we have you finding visuals, or if you're not a visual person and you find other symbolism within yourself that is of disappearing nature for the thoughts, that's what you can be using when you meditate. And be patient with yourself. Don't judge yourself. No time is lost. You are doing a great job just by focusing on where you want to focus. The problem with life is that there's so many distractions today. I guess there always were, but today is a lot worse than a year ago. And in a year, it'll be a lot worse than it is today. And so we need to find tools where we are focusing on what you're interested in. Because all the chatter and noise going on around you doesn't have your best interest at heart. That's your job. That's why you need to meditate, so that you practice your ability to focus. You practice the ability to connect with your own stillness. And the beautiful benefit of meditation, one of many, 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 is that you clean up your subconscious mind. You clean up the hurt and the pain that is holding you back to your past. And you can really create a new, much lighter and more joyous future if you keep on practicing. I started in 1996. I've tried to not meditate for periods of time, and I go back to it. To me, it's like candy. To me, it's a vacation. And I hope that it's a practice that you can continue, especially now that you know that thoughts are definitely not your enemy. So with that, I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll see you around. Bye.